here with Miami coach Anthony Noreen ahead of this weekend's home series against number 6 Denver, and we'll take some questions.
We'll definitely talk about Denver here in a second. Coach, let's go back to the Colorado College this past weekend. The effort your guys gave in the third period on Saturday night. Kind of two double-edged sword. Wish it had been there a lot sooner than that, but man, what a great period. Little gut punch in the results of it, but it's got to be some positivity and some confidence building to take away.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Listen, you wanted, at the end of the day, you wanted the result for them, for the effort. And again, for behind the scenes, we see the way they work and in the time and effort and what they put in. You would have liked to have gotten that result because you felt what that feeling was like on the bench in that moment, and you wanted it for them. Having said that, love that we played to the end, love that we battled and competed. Very easily could have just, checked out. Hey, it's 4-1. It's, we're on the road. It's going to be a sweep and we'll get out of here. But, we fought down to the very end. That's what you do. It's what a real hockey player does, and that's something we're trying to instill in these guys for sure.
They're trying to generate that sense of urgency that they found in that third period. What's the strategy? What strategy are you taking from that to try to generate, as a coaching staff, as leaders, to try to generate sort of that feeling, that intensity as you come into the start of the game on Friday?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just how you go about your business every day throughout the week, and how you approach practice and how you approach your workouts and how we approach and how intentional we are in video meetings and individual meetings and skill sessions and things like that. And part of that's on us to lead the way and make sure that we're being intentional and that we're, showing up ready to go and all those things. And part of it's just guys like that's, again, these are student athletes, but when we say being a pro, like no matter what you do, like being professional about what you do and having a standard and living up to that standard, no matter what you feel or no matter what the score is, or no matter what time of day it is just something we need here. And, I think there was certainly a sense of pride in that third period on Saturday, and there needs to be a sense of pride every single time we take days. Not that there's not, but I feel like, and we feel like that's certainly something that just needs to, across the board, be better. Like hockey is a demanding game. It's a hard game. Like, and the points mean just as much to the guys, and the guys across from you work out and they practice hard too. And so like in those moments, like you got to be the best guy in the world off the ice. But when it comes those times and it comes a moment and it comes in the corner off of face off or whatever it is, and you're in a battle, which happens hundreds of times a game, like we can't be nice. There's got to be an edge to us without going over. And, that's something we're just going to keep chipping at.
Looking at this weekend, Denver's going to have an edge to them. Yeah, they've got as much talent as anybody, and they've had sort of an up and down season at times, and coming off a passionate weekend last weekend where kind of emotions bubbled over. They're going to come in probably with a chip on their shoulder, probably with an edge. How do you combat that?
Yeah, I mean, we've got to play to our standard and our identity. And listen, we have a ton of respect for every single team in this conference. They've all earned that. Certainly, a team like Denver has earned that. We've got to have a plan. We got to stick to the plan, and most importantly, when things get hard, we've got to push through it. And that's where, that's what the really good teams do. Like they find a way when it gets hard, and no matter what the score is, and hey, the other team's really good, or where, like, you find a way to push through. You get down, you get in, you go in the box, whatever it might be. Like, we've got to find a way mentally to push through. You get, down a couple in a game, like push through it. Like, you have an opportunity to go out. Like, again, it's a blessing that we get to go play this game. We get to go play at this great arena and represent this great university, and all the people that have allowed the opportunity and sacrifice for us to get these. Like, we can't let them go by. We can't let moments go by. And again, we are going to push till the very end with this group to make sure that we're doing everything possible. But at the end of the day, you're in that moment. There's got to be a confidence that you're ready because of the work you've done to get to that point. But there's got to be a grit, and there's got to be a mental toughness to push through hard things.
Like Drew said, it was a passionate series for Denver against North Dakota last weekend. So their goaltender got hurt in the Friday night game, didn't play Saturday, and I guess we'll find out what's going to happen with that. One of their big star defenders is not going to be in the game Friday night. With that said, I know that's something you guys don't even worry about. How do you prepare for that and keeping your guys focused on just what it is they need to do?
Yeah, I mean, we're not really going to get too much into that. I mean, last time that we played them, the couple weeks leading up to it, they were without that same player. So we've seen what that team looks like, and trust me, they're just as, I don't want to say just as good, but they're still very good. The goaltending thing is it's interesting. It's kind of happening for several programs around the country right now, where when you don't have a minor league or in juniors you have an affiliate list, like it's a little bit of you're at the mercy of health. So I know they've got 3 guys there. I know all 3 guys are capable. I'm sure whoever they put in there is going to be very good. And again, we can't get caught up in that stuff. We got to make sure that we're focused on us and focused to be ready to have a good start, in the right type of start, in the right type of emotion throughout that weekend. Positive emotion, but also, we've got to have a higher standard. We have a higher standard of how we do everything.
Also, this game, talking about fast starts, getting started, this is going to be an earlier game time. And just to let everybody know, again, the game time's 5:30 Friday night. What does that change for you guys?
I don't know. I mean, I think we love it, honestly. Like, it's less time sitting around all day waiting for the game, especially when those Saturday games are earlier. Like, you wish that the game was at noon the next. And I think that goes for players and coaches. Like, you want to get back after it, and those are long days waiting. And obviously, you're trying to make it, I guess, the most fan-friendly you can. So I don't think it really changes much for us. Maybe a little bit of just some meeting times and stuff during the day. And obviously for the guys, food, nap, things like that, times will be adjusted a bit. But, again, the earlier the better, less time sitting around.
Finally, the NHL Four Nations tournament. You and I got a chance to talk about the U.S.-Canada game before the game on Saturday night when we were out west. That was quite the game. So now we get a rematch of that coming up on Thursday night. But what was it like? You got a lot of guys from those countries, all the nations being represented. Or at least 3 of the 4.
Yeah, there's certainly some rivalries in the room right now. But, I mean, what a great display and celebration of just, I mean, our game is the best game in the world. And if you need to know any better, look at it, because I don't think there's any other sport where there's a best-on-best competition going on that they're not getting paid for. That's, hey, it could just been a Saturday skate around, and you've got guys putting their health on the line, and they just look at the injuries that have happened in that. And obviously that's totally unideal, but it is so important to those guys. I think it's important representing their country, but I also think that they're smart enough to realize how important it is for the growth of our game and like the marketing opportunity for hockey. And we talk about it all the time, like the game's never been better. And, for us, we're hockey fans, so we get to watch Connor McDavid. But for the common person who's maybe never seen him do his thing, or seen the Tkachuk brothers, or seen what the emotion in the ups and downs of a hockey game are, and how intense that was. Like, I just can't imagine if you're a fan of sports or anything that's entertaining, you couldn't watch that game and find something to love about it. And again, I think that's what we were all hoping for with these best-on-best competitions, and especially as a segue into the Olympics, which is going to be even bigger and more countries involved. But, good for those guys. It doesn't surprise me at all. Great for the game. I know it got a huge crowd in turnout TV-wise on Saturday. And, man, like, I just think it's a great opportunity again tonight with those 2 teams going at it. And, again, I told you last week it was as excited as I've been to watch a game. Now we got to watch it after the fact, but to watch this game tonight, and, again, you're rooting as hard as you can for the U.S., but you're really rooting for hockey. And you just hope that it's a great game and is equally as a display of the passion and the love and the care and the work that goes in to, the game and what makes it special. And I have no doubt that we'll see that.
You've been involved with USA Hockey Development Program and had a lot of guys that have either played for or you've coached against. What is the state of the U.S. development program as it gets ready to take it to this highest level? Yeah,
and I've gotten a chance to coach the Halinka, which is the under-18 World Championships, and the World Junior A Challenge a number of times, which is the under-19 World Championships. And then obviously the U.S. national program, having a full-time team, something that David got to work for last year. Like, I just think that the development model is working in the United States, but B, I think the growth of the game is really, the bottom line is that the more players there are more families there are investing in, and more players that, like, I don't know, I've yet to meet the family or the little kid or someone who's plays hockey and baseball and football and whatever sport, they gravitate towards hockey. There's just something about it once hockey's involved that they do. So I think we're growing in non-traditional areas, Texas, California, Florida. And I also think just the USA Hockey model has done a really good job. I mean, what a good balance of grit, of skating, of skill, of character, leadership, all those things within that team. Elite goaltending. So it's fun to watch on display, especially when it's a lot of guys that a guy like Kyle Connor I've coached, but a lot of guys that have you've coached against, guys that have played college hockey, USHL junior hockey, things like that. It's pretty cool to see.
Here with Michael Feenstra ahead of this weekend's home series against number 6 Denver, and we'll take some questions.
Michael, we'll talk about Denver here in just a second. So I want to go back to Saturday night and the effort you guys put in, battling back, so close and frustrating when it's all said and done with. Didn't get the win, lost in overtime. Looked like you had the game tying goal. But what do you guys take away from that? You made a huge comeback in the third period to battle back. So what do you guys take about it moving forward?
No, I mean, definitely, like you said, it's still frustrating, but I think we left the rink with a lot better feeling than we have past few games, that's for sure. And I think the mindset going into the third was a lot different than our mindset going into past third periods. I think there's a lot more belief. We knew if we just kept pushing, we'd be able to catch them flat-footed, and we did, and it was a lot of fun. I think we all really enjoyed it. So yeah, I think we're looking to do more of that this coming weekend.
There's no magic button, but there's no magic formula. But you seem to find, obviously, 3 goals in that third period. Biggest scoring outburst that you've had in quite a while. So what can you do to replicate that? You mentioned taking that mindset into the rest of the game, but what's it take, in your opinion, to get into that mindset in that first period to try to replicate that and do that again throughout the game?
Yeah, I think just kind of what I said, kind of to reiterate it, it's just a lot of belief. I truly like believing that we can win games, and I think we showed that in the third period. We can really just compete with anybody. Just a lot of belief. Like, if we go out and play the way we know that we can play with anybody.
And now Denver comes in here. They're the defending national champions. They're going to be without one of their key players in the first game Friday night, but I'm sure that's not anything you guys are too worried about. So how do you prepare now, taking what you just did Saturday night out there, to come with it into that game Friday night? Yeah,
I think we just want to stick to our identities, just stuff we've been working on the whole year. I think the season hasn't gone the way that we've really wanted it to, obviously, but, we're all super competitive, and I think we don't take any games for granted. And I think especially after the third period on Saturday, we can have a lot more belief and a lot more energy coming into this first.
You had a major injury last year that kept you out a good chunk of the second half of the season, and then kind of dinged up a little bit this year on and off as well. What's the mindset for you? I mean, on the ice is one thing, and the physical part of it, trying to come back and rehab and do all that stuff, but kind of the mental aspect of all that too, just being off the ice, wanting to be out there to help the guys. How do you kind of deal with that?
Yeah, no, it's definitely tough. Played a lot of hockey throughout my life. Sitting out's never fun, but I think the guys do a really good job of making sure I'm still part of the team. Makes me excited to come to the rink every day, so it's good to have a good group of guys around that could keep your spirits up every day.
Good group of guys this week. We got the Four Nations thing going on with the National Hockey League and everything. So what's it been like around the locker room? Saturday when we were out in the Springs, that Canadian game, I'm sure we all got to see it afterward. I know I watched it afterwards, but we got a lot of Canadians on the team. We got some Swedes on the team. How did they handle Monday beating the U.S.?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of trash talk going around here and there. Like you said, we got a lot of Swedes. There's a lot of words being said to each other. We're excited to see how the game turns out tomorrow.
Absolutely, the U.S.-Canada game too. So, and then again, the whole weekend now, we're kind of coming down to the final stretch of the season. What's the mindset for all the guys now? You got a lot of guys whose eligibility will be done at the end of this year too. So, how do you guys kind of try to finish strong for those guys?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, we have a really competitive group of guys. These games mean a lot to us, even though maybe they don't mean as much standings-wise, I guess, if you look at the numbers, but every game's super important to us, and we want to win games, especially for the guys who are heading out.